Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Better Wounds podcast. I'm Heather Flexer. I am a certified wound specialist. We're talking basically about all the complications that can happen after plastic surgery, and some of that is going to include wounds. And my goal is to help you be a little bit more confident that you're going to heal and help you through that process as good as possible. So, we've talked all about some random topics. I think this is episode 9. And today, what I want to talk about is something that you can do on top of um, standard wound care, taking care of yourself, all the regular things that you hear about. What I want to talk today about is modalities. So, modalities refers to something that you can do, a type of treatment, something that you can do that's external. So, um, I am not talking about cavitation or radio frequency at this point, especially if you have an open wound. Those are more in the body contouring space. If you've had a procedure, you really want to wait until about 12 weeks before you start doing anything like that, especially if you think about what those things are used for. Cavitation is used for breaking down fat, and if you've just had liposuction or a tummy tuck or whatever, now is not really the time to focus on that. So you can worry about cavitation later, and it can be used like to even out some spots that maybe you kind of wish that they addressed, or now that um, your belly is flat, that now you notice more of another area. That's great for like spot type stuff. Save that for after your initial healing. And then radio frequency again is for like skin tightening. And if you've had a tummy tuck, your skin should be pretty tight. So you want to save those for later. That's going to be something else that you're going to use those for. Um, and obviously, if you're going into a wound center or you're working with a physical therapist, occupational therapist, massage therapist, nurse, they may have some modalities that are just too expensive for you to have at home, and that's fine. That's why you go to professionals. But I want to talk about things that you can do at home in between. So, if you're sitting at home and you have a large open wound, it's draining a lot, it's pretty deep, you should definitely be in the care of a local wound specialist. Look, just Google them, who is in your local area, find out who your insurance will allow you to work with, and they will likely have lots of modality options and things that are going to encourage healing on that level. But if you have a large open wound, you should definitely be working with someone locally. I do consults, and that's for people that maybe don't have anyone local to them or are looking for a second opinion or just aren't seeing results, or maybe their doc has told them to use something like what to try or bacitracin and they just want another opinion. So I do help folks, but if you do have a large open wound, first step would be to get evaluated um, close and local to you, and I can always be a resource. So um, today, what I wanted to talk about is things that you can do at home. And number one, if you go back and listen to the nutrition episode, you're going to hear about that. So, number one is get your nutrition on point. I'll put some resources for all of these down below, but make sure that you're getting adequate amino acids, lots of protein, you need hydration. All these things are going to encourage your body to heal. So, number one is going to be nutrition. Number two is going to be get that body moving. You need adequate blood flow in order to get the cells to the area. That happens through blood flow, and that also happens through stimulating the lymphatic system to get rid of any toxins. So the way that you do that most easily is by moving. So I'm not talking about going out and starting training for a marathon. I'm literally talking about pumping your ankles, walking around your house, going out for a walk when the weather is nice, those kind of really simple things. That is going to get the body moving and get all your systems functioning the way that they should be. So don't just lay around. That's not really going to help you heal. Our bodies are meant to move. Even if there is a wound, moving it is going to help. Some people like to wear their compression because they're having a lot of swelling. It's not that you don't need to wear your compression. It's just you want to make sure it's not too tight and you're not restricting blood flow. So keep moving, keep that blood flowing. And then using the right dressings. We haven't really talked too much about dressings right now, but using the right products at the right time is going to facilitate wound healing 1000%. So making sure that you have the right thing on at the right time, that's when you can reach out to me if you want, and we can schedule a consult and I can help you with that piece. It's probably the easiest way so that you are getting personalized advice. So we can do that for sure. And then there are some other options that you can add on at home. And so I have other resources for you. I'll link everything below, but TENS unit. So electric stimulation has been around forever for wound healing. It used to really only be available with a prescription or, in a physical therapy office. These are not super high voltage, and honestly, you don't need super high voltage in order to facilitate cell activity, and that's what's happening here. So you would place one pad on one side of the open wound and one pad on the other side and turn this baby on. And what's happening is all cells have a charge, and when there's like a cut in between, the sides are not communicating. So you're using the electrical current to kind of get cellular communication across the bridge and also through the wound. So you're getting the cells to go like, oh, hey, I'm supposed to connect to that guy over there. So you're just literally turning it on to where you can feel it. You're not trying to get the muscle to contract, which is another reason you don't need a super high voltage piece of equipment. So if you have an opening on, let's say, a tummy tuck area that's a little wider, you can do something like this. These are pretty affordable. I think this one is like $40. So this is something that you could do daily. And if you have the device yourself and you have like a significant open area, that's something that you can add in as well. And then I always like things that have multiple purposes. So a TENS unit, I have one personally because I have back pain. So when I have a flare up, I'll use this, or if I'm going on a long road trip or flight or something like that, I'll put this on my low back. So these kinds of things don't really go unused. It's just sometimes you don't know how to use it. So I'll post some resources, but this is something to consider, especially if your progress has kind of stalled or you have a really significant open area. That's something that you can add into the mix besides all those other things we talked about. The other one, some of you will have these belts, or even I have one lady who has it in a face mask. And, when I was suggesting using the belt, she's like, wait, I have a face mask. Can I use that? Probably. You're just making sure that it is a red light therapy. I think what you're looking for is 650 to 800. I'll have to check my references, but somewhere in there for what you want the light to be at. So this is a light therapy device. What this does is to encourage blood flow and angiogenesis, which is the new blood vessels from growing. So this is really good. This is not a bad option, especially if you've had like an extended tummy tuck or you have several open areas in different spots. I know a lot of times you're going for more than one procedure. So these devices aren't bad to use even on the scar to get them to kind of lay a little flatter if you have significant scars. So that again is something you can use for that. For this, sometimes like this one will get a little hot, but not until I've had it on for maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. Again, I'll do this for, it's supposed to help with breaking down fat as well. So that's when you're using it for a longer period of time. So I don't feel the heat on this until 15 to 20 minutes. So you're not looking for the heat aspect when you're using it for wound care or, getting new blood flow to grow. You literally just need the energy for a little bit. So I'll tell people to start with 5 minutes at a time, 5 minutes a day, and then you can kind of increase to tolerance. The thing with your body is that if you've just had surgery, your your nerves have been cut and damaged throughout the surgical process. So your sensation is going to be off. So I'd rather you start with a short duration treatment, do 5 minutes at a time, make sure your skin can tolerate it, make sure your wound can tolerate it before you start increasing it or using it all the time. I know a lot of you I want it healed, I want to do more, and if I do it more, it's better. That's not always the case. Sometimes we just need to let your body do the thing it's got to do. It's not going to regenerate all the skin overnight. So just that little bit, 5 minutes is probably enough. And then you can go about doing whatever else you were going to do for the day. And you could do it again tomorrow. It's totally fine. It's nice if you have one at home because you can do it every day. And they're also not that expensive. So those are two options for things that you can do at home as well. I know some of you folks that have lipoburn or like these dark necrotic areas, that is a great time to consider adding hyperbaric oxygen. Now, that's not something you can do at home, but it's becoming a lot more popular where there's more facilities that offer that option. So that's something that you might want to look into if that's what you have. So an ischemic wound, something that is quite large or infected, like a lipoburn, a big like scaled one that isn't getting better fast, you may want to consider the hyperbaric oxygen. And that is kind of similar along the lines of trying to encourage new blood flow, but it's trying to force more oxygen into your body than if you were just walking around. So it's giving you a high pressure oxygen situation. And that's going to encourage new blood vessel growth. So it's good in those situations. So that's something to consider if that is you. If you're super swollen and maybe you also have a history of lymphedema or lipedema and poor circulation even, or lots of leg swelling, you have a history of, let's say, varicose veins, spider veins, you have lymphedema in your family history, then you may want to add something like a vibration plate into your care. Again, these aren't super expensive, so it's not a bad option for something to have readily available at home that you could do on the daily. And again, that's one of those things that if you've got those things in your history, having it in your home is not a bad option because that's like kind of on the preventative side of having like full-blown issues. So vibration plate's another thing that you can consider. So I hope that you found these extra little tips and tricks and things that you could do at home while you're trying to heal as another option. Again, check out the description below. I'll kind of give you resources for all the things that I discussed, but if you need anything, you can reach out. If you want a personalized consult, you can find me at betterwounds.com. Go to /shop and you'll see virtual consults as that first option. And you can use code podcast for a discount. So thank you so much for joining. Please rate, review, leave me a comment, tell me what else you'd like to talk about, or if there's someone you think I should talk to. I'd love your input. All right, I hope you're good. If you're not, you know how to get me. Bye.